Hi everyone. Welcome to our channel. Douglas Macgregor asserts that factual accuracy holds little sway in Washington's decision-making processes. He highlights a long-standing push towards conflict with Iran, suggesting a narrative portraying Iran as a malevolent force responsible for regional instability. Macgregor underscores the influential role of pro-Israel lobbyists in advocating for aggressive policies towards Iran, referencing significant financial support for political campaigns. He points out the historical context of figures like Adelson, who advocated for military action against Iran. Macgregor emphasizes the need for a factual assessment, noting the absence of evidence linking Iran to recent events such as alleged influence over Hamas. The people dying in Gaza are Arabs, not Iranians. There's a significant distinction between Iran or Persia and the Arab states. This doesn't imply that Iranians are indifferent to Arab affairs, but they have consistently avoided provoking conflict despite opportunities such as the aftermath of the Soleimani assassination, where retaliation was expected. Their actions indicate otherwise. For instance, when launching missiles, they've demonstrated precision and restraint, as seen in recent strikes in Syria and Iraq. Even in cases where targets were apparent, like the Mossad agent's residence near the American embassy, collateral damage was minimal. This underscores Iran's capability for accurate targeting. The incident-based, presumably aimed at intercepting movements between Iran and Syria via Shiite Arab regions of Iraq, suggests a misfire rather than an intentional attack. The technology involved, beyond that of a drone resulting in casualties, indicates an unintended occurrence. In essence, Iran's actions and capabilities suggest that if they intended harm, they would have executed it with precision. The situation suggests that Shiite Arab militias are behind these actions due to their lack of advanced technology compared to Iran. Across Yemen, South Lebanon, and Iraq, various Arab groups are engaging in activities targeting Israelis, largely because of Gaza. Efforts to manipulate this situation and build a pretext for war with Iran have occurred repeatedly. In 2019, Donald Trump rejected such initiatives despite pressure from key figures like the CENTCOM commander Pompeo and Bolton, who were advocating for strikes against Iran. Trump's refusal stemmed from the downing of an unmanned aerial vehicle near the Air Defense Identification Zone. He recognized the legal implications and potential escalation under international law. Trump's decision averted a major conflict with Iran at the time of the decision not to inform Iran of the surveillance flight was deliberate. It was evident that Iran would respond by shooting it down, an action well within their rights. When confronted with the potential casualties of such a strike, Donald Trump questioned the necessity of the operation or prospect of sparking a war with Iran weighed heavily, especially considering the absence of American casualties from the unmanned incident. Trump recognized the grave consequences of further escalation and opted to avoid it now with President Biden. A different dynamic is at play. He faces a barrage of options and pressure from various quarters, including influential donors and voices on Capitol Hill, urging decisive action against Iran. Their belief in the deterrent effect of such strikes is flawed, as evident from past experiences. The notion that significant damage will dissuade Iran is unfounded, reflecting a misguided approach to deterrence. The locations have been targets for attacks, especially since October 7th, when Israel initiated operations in Gaza. The intensity escalated as it became apparent that Israel's campaign aimed not just to restore deterrence, but to forcibly remove or eliminate the population in Gaza. And in response, Arab groups showed solidarity with Gaza's population, including Hamas rather than the leadership. The incident at Alto, situated near the Jordanian-Syrian border, was accidental, while some interpreted it as part of an Iranian strategy, likening it to the Gulf of Tonkin incident. It underscores the murky objectives and rationale behind military engagements in regions like Iraq and Afghanistan. Despite claims of supporting Israel's interests, the mission's clarity and effectiveness remain questionable, especially considering Israel's sophisticated intelligence capabilities in the area. Ultimately, it appears that we are overseeing a small oil facility owned by Cone in the northeastern corner of Syria, extracting oil and reportedly selling it to the Turks, who then allegedly pass it on to the Israelis. However, this arrangement has caused discontent among the Turkish population, known for its anti-Israeli sentiments. The situation raises questions about the sustainability of such operations and the potential for Turkish backlash, given their vehement opposition to Israel. The presence of our forces in the region serves no clear purpose and only makes them vulnerable targets reminiscent of our experiences in Iraq. Despite calls from the Iraqi government and regional sentiments for withdrawal, there seems to be reluctance to acknowledge the lack of strategic purpose in these deployments. Instead, we continue to maintain a presence, perhaps to avoid facing the reality of failed strategies in Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan. This unwillingness to confront strategic failures perpetuates tragedies and maintains unsustainable facades. Last year, I was repeatedly asked about the trajectory we're on, notably by Tucker in October and November. I expressed concern then, and sadly, I believe we're moving towards it. A significant portion of the American electorate, what I call the bombs away club, enthusiastically supports military actions without fully grasping the context. They believe bombing reflects national greatness, though it doesn't. Iran poses a distinct challenge compared to Iraq. Even Israeli leaders, particularly those in the defense force, acknowledge the destabilizing impact of our actions in the region, despite initial hopes of making the region safer for Israel. Our interventions have achieved the opposite. Contrary to warnings from Arab leaders over the past 2 decades, the situation has become increasingly perilous for Israel. Now, the talk of attacking Iran raises serious concerns. Iran possesses formidable military capabilities and expertise, including cyber warfare and intelligence capabilities, making it a significant military power and possess advanced missile technology, as briefed by Israeli officials, capable of precise strikes on our key positions in the region. With around 57,000 personnel stationed across various locations like Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, and Syria, our defenses are vulnerable to such attacks in pretty air defense systems, even those provided the Saudis are inadequate against modern threats like drones and cruise missiles. Initiating a conflict risk retaliation, potentially devastating our installations and inviting attacks on Israel. If Israel wins with a U.S. strike, it could provoke further escalation, with Iran possessing long-range missiles capable of inflicting significant damage on Israeli cities. The consequences are dire, with little benefit to anyone involved. Moreover, intervening in the Middle East could lead to a multi-front conflict involving Russia and China, both having strategic interests in the region's stability, particularly concerning oil and gas supplies. The closure of vital maritime routes like the Straits of Hormuz and the Suez Canal could trigger global economic turmoil. Additionally, the presence of Hezbollah in Mexico presents another overlooked front, further complicating the situation. There is no credible evidence to support the existence of ISIS chapters operating in Mexico, or thousands of people connected to Hezbollah in the United States. These claims lack substantial backing and should be viewed with skepticism.